When I see a black man and one man, I think of strength, black empowerment we have within, building community development. Let's continue to build our own. Let's continue to stay strong. Motivation, no matter the hate, no stopping. You just go. Listen up to Quan, John, and Queen P for giving us a voice. Speak up for what's yours and yell and make that noise. We are kings and we are queens. Melanated royalty, just getting started. Loving self, self and knowledge. Stack that wealth. Motivational motors, y'all.
My existence been here since the beginning. I'm just a spirit traveling through different dimensions. Decades of hard living from past sins committed from past lives I visit. Thank God I'm still living. Trying to place a graps around this society. Making a living, barely living is like slavery. Anything worth having gon' take some patience. See, Wano told me this and then he said avoid complacency. Born at the bottom in hard times and poverty. Born in the country, cotton fields and dirty creeks. Birth to a teacher. Firstborn of first seed. Pops was a preacher, skated before I was conceited. Like a lover father, give his son the example of the same reason why society relates to us as thugs. I'm just hoping the world feel me. Yeah, this the introduction to Chuck G. Sometimes I feel like I'm a menace.
Yeah, okay, so tell us about being a father, especially a black father from your perspective.
It's been, I'm not gonna say challenging, but it's been an experience, especially coming from an unstable foundation, meaning that my father wasn't in the household. My relationship with my father lived 30 minutes up the road from me, and he's a pastor, but my father wasn't in my life. I joined the military when I was 17, right after I graduated high school. He didn't even come to my high school graduation. So, trying to figure it out, I knew that example that he set, I ain't want nothing to do with that. You see what I'm saying? Because I already know how emotionally wrecked I was from that. So, and even up into my 30s, I was still healing from that. I had to come to the realization that I'm my own dad. And I'm changed for that. So now coming to that realization, knowing that I, with my daughters, being in 2 different states, and then also trying to school them on guys or whatever. I say it's challenging, but also it's fun because I tend not to sugarcoat with my girls.
That's right.
I know the world ain't gonna sugarcoat it. You see what I'm saying? Not at all. I know when I was coming up, when I would talk to a female, I know how I came at them or whatever. So being that can honestly say that you come from a place of being a womanizer, not taking women for granted, not taking them for their true value, their true worth or whatever. Now it changes your outlook and your perspective on the whole approach and even how you view women.
That's right.
So now my lessons to my daughter, whenever we have our discussions, I want to make sure that their mental capacity are good as well, but I'm also dropping knowledge and game on them so they can know what to look for. If a little boy come and tell you this right here, you need to be careful. If a little boy actually got a boyfriend, let them know, yeah, your daddy.
Yep. I like that one. I think I'm gonna use that in shop. For real, man. When we spoke at the Bob Black event, we like I said, it was real quick because there was a lot going on. We had a real good 5, maybe 7-minute powwow, and you said some things that really stood out. And I just want to go back to the absence of your father a little bit, because as I told you, I'm currently writing the book, The Presence of Patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? So in the book, I'm showing how the presence as well as the absence of the father has catastrophic effect on the child, good and bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing excerpts of how sometimes the absence of the father is good for the child. And we don't speak about that a lot. We always talk about the black man that's not there for his child, and the child ends up in jail, or the child ends up doing this, the child ends up doing that. We don't ever touch in on how there are a lot of fathers and we're gonna specifically say the black man because we're not talking about no other cultures. They do what they do. We're gonna do what we do. A lot of black fathers for real, because by way of the absence of their father, they were absent in their child's lives. But it actually turned out to be a good thing. Because like you said with your music, Chuck, you've been through all this, the military, gangbanging, hustling. Why would you put that in your music? You understand? So check it out. Say this father that's been through all that doesn't have that mindset to take another direction. He only know to instill that into his younger child. So actually, his absence is actually a great thing. You understand? No doubt he should pay his child support because the mother shouldn't have to struggle because they made the baby together. However, sometimes I got people that I know specifically in my family that haven't raised their children. And for real, their child came up actually better if they were in the household, because I know these people. I know what type of emotional trauma they have, and I know what type of abusive intent they have. They wouldn't even know no better to instill this into their kid. You understand? They wouldn't even know that they're abusing their child by being present. So sometimes the father in the household that was neglected by their father, they actually subconsciously abuse their child. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to touch in on, you said, you had a lot of trauma from your father not being there, but how did his absence actually shape the man you are? Not his lack of presence, the absence.
So his absence shaping me.
Yeah.
I say my pops was a preacher, Baptist. My mom kept me in church, but when I use my baby brother and his son because my brother, he's married and his kids are in the house with him. So okay. I look at the relationship, and my nephew always tell me that his dad is his best friend.
Wow.
So I know as a young man, your first best friend is your father. So this is where you're
supposed to be. Yeah.
Supposed to be. This is where you're gonna catch a lot of your mannerisms from. This is when you start mimicking ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, with my father not being in my life, I think if he would have been in my life, I would have been probably bound to Christianity. With me, I'm more spiritual than anything now. I don't go to church. I understand religion.
Right.
But I go back. Malcolm X said something that was profound to me. He said, you should never be a part of anything unless you know what it is. So I went back, studied Christianity from the beginning. I think if my father would have been in my life, I wouldn't have took the spiritual route that I took. That would allow me to be able to see.
Good point.
These things.
Good point, because he did kind of tunnel visioned you, like, hey, do it this way, right?
Yeah, and I would have been relying on somebody outside of me that I perceive greater than myself to do things that I should.
Very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality, I was able to take accountability for my actions versus waiting on somebody to come in outside of me to change my life for me.
Right.
So I think with him not being in my life, I was able to maneuver and find myself and become a better man, in my opinion.
Mm.
And you know what? Your opinion is, and I tell people, your opinion is the opinion. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and as real, because a lot, especially when we coming up in our 20s and our teenage years, and even sometimes in our early 30s, we tend to, even for the rest of our lives, we listen to other people's opinion. But once you grow and mature more and more and become more and more successful by way of your failures, you understand, what I think matter. Period. Yeah. My opinion is the opinion. You understand? Good or bad or indifferent. What I feel about me is going to shape me into who I'm going to be in the future. You understand? So you're right. You are a better man because of your father's absence. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way that can be changed. No one can tell you differently. You know why? Because no one can change the past. You understand? Exactly. You live that. You went through that. So that's a very good analogy there, because it's like with our teenage boys, I can't tell you how you feeling. Only you could tell me how you feeling. You understand? I can't tell you what type of effect this had over you. Only you can put it out there in the world. And I think that's how a lot of kids get in the gangs. You understand? That's how they get in gangs, right?
Yeah, that's true. But then and it's that's exactly it.
For real. That's how they get in the gangs, because they letting somebody else depict their trauma. Yeah. And what they should do with it.
You catching guidance those around you. You start. But see, that's because that they're not feeling that love from home.
That's right.
So when you're not feeling love from home or whatever, of course you're gonna look elsewhere, and then you got to
get it somewhere.
That they're gonna show you a certain type of love that you're not getting at the crib. But then you got to be able to ask yourself, is this love genuine, or is it detrimental to my well-being?
That's right.
So we gotta, but you have to get past the anger to be able to see it, though, and that anger can cloud so much. I know for me, when I was 17 when I joined the Army. Older,
that's a little child,
and a lot of the leaders, black NCOs, were trying to take me under their wing. Man, I didn't have an ear for anything a man had to say, because my mentality was, I'm on my own now. My pops was never in my life. He never disciplined me or tell me what to do. I had my moms and my grandma, so I would listen to the ladies. I would listen to what the women had to say. But when it came to a man, I was butt against that. Oh man, you see what I'm saying? I done figured it out. According to my thinking, I done figured it out this far. So, but at the same time, looking back on it, I was just traveling the road of destruction due to my anger, because my pops wasn't in my life, not knowing at the time that this is what I needed. Because I was always guided by the spirit, I guess you could say. That was a voice always telling me do's and don'ts. And a lot of times I went against it, but at the same time I would come back to it. And when I came back to it, and I'll just stay on that path of listening and doing exactly what it said, everything runs smooth as silk. But when I strayed off or whatever, so that became like that spiritual presence became like the God for me as well, the absence of.
Wow. So what was your turning point? Like, I feel like most people, when they have when they have those moments in life, there is usually an event or something that pivots them. So what's your pivot point?
When I got out, so I lost my brother Jeff in 2012, and like 2 weeks after that, we lost my baby brother. His oldest son ended up as well. And
sorry to hear that, man.
After that, I came home for the homegoing celebration, and when I went back to the military, I was already in trouble, but they were kind of lenient on me because I was good at my job, and they knew I was going through a lot. So I had pitched hot twice already, and so they gave me another try, another chance. So I went home, just went on the bench, just drinking and smoking. I returned to the military. They asked me that I engage in anything I wasn't supposed to. I told honest, I'm always honest about anything I do. I don't believe in, you know what I'm saying? I'm a man about whatever consequences come my way. So I told them, yeah. And they asked me what I wanted to do. I told them I wanted to be put out of the military. They chopped me out. At this, I was frustrated. I was angry. I had it up the hill with everything. I know if they didn't put me out, I was going to end up getting locked up because I was on the verge of putting my hands on somebody.
Got you.
So 27, I get out the military. I go back home to Mississippi.
You said you were 27 at the time, so you did 10 years?
Yeah, I did 10 years.
Wow.
10,
years. 3 tours to Iraq.
Wow.
Okay.
When I came back home, trying to find myself and just find a sturdy foundation, because I know I'm different from all my peers now that I grew up with.
Absolutely.
If we have a conversation, it's about something from the past childhood. But
that's right. That's it. Right. I feel the same way, man.
We're not relatable as men now because we done been on different journeys in life.
Yep.
I come home, a lot of people still doing the same thing. And I can't fit in with that because I've been doing other stuff.
Right.
So I'm trying to find and set my foundation. I go and I'm looking in religion. I'm reading the Bible, trying to find my place in there. And so I start having questions. And I'm the type that people tell me don't question God or whatever. I'm questioning this Bible. I'm going to the pastor. I go to my pops.
That's right.
I went to my cousin who was the preacher at the church that I grew up in. And it's just stuff I'm asking about the Levitical law or whatever. But long story short, no one was able to give me or answer the question and make it sense. They never could. Something simple like dietary law. They were never able to answer that for me. So
they can't.
Getting frustrated, I switched over to Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
To like they disassociated themselves following IUIC, and I saw that they disassociated themselves from being African. So according to some of the research I've done, I have a problem with that. I couldn't rock with it. I couldn't understand or fathom that. Right. So I left there and I got to talking with my 2 younger brothers. They have an older brother in Atlanta. And he went to school to be a bishop. And after he learned everything that he learned, he no longer wanted to do that. So he started following the Comedics. And so I got into that. And that's what led me to the foundation that I'm on now. That's how I was able to find myself by going back and studying what it was our ancestors were into. Nothing else made sense for me, especially like I understand what war is now. I've been to war 3 times. When I get out the military, I'm seeing tactics deployed on the Black community, some in which we used in Iraq. You see what I'm saying? Oh,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, just when you've been to war, you know war. When you see it, you smell it, you taste it, or whatever. If you live, it's easy to see, it's easy to spot. And so now it turned into an even bigger problem for me because everybody around me is complacent in the way life is going for them. And I can rock with it. You know, even like parents, aunties, uncles, siblings. So once I start changing my foundational structure, I start a lot of people, siblings, and that's cool. I don't care about none of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It don't bother me not one bit because I know my purpose in life or whatever, and then I just know. But that's what set me on this foundation that I'm currently on now. It was there's a word called Sankofa, meaning to go back and get it, the knowledge that your ancestors left for us. So that's what I try to base my foundation on, Sankofa. And that's what helped me through all the frustration was that ancestral knowledge, just understanding who we truly are as a people. It gave me a sense of pride.
Yeah. You said 2 things that was, man. That was very well put, man. 2. You said 2 things that stood out, man. When you said about purpose, you know, there's a quote by Delatoro McNeil, and he said, I'm gonna put it in my words, the paraphrase, without purpose. I'm gonna put it in kind of in your words. When you find purpose, that means you do away with all the negative addictions and habitats that you have. without purpose, you will be addicted to something that's negative, and you will be feeling the brunt of your trauma. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's like purpose waters down. It waters down. It kind of washes away, and it kind of makes your eyelids, wide open to all your trauma and your bad habits. You understand? So that's the thing. It's crazy when you find purpose. It does so much for you, man. People that underestimate what purpose even means. A lot of people I know don't understand what their purpose is, and they don't understand. That is the key to overcoming their adversity. Once you, and know what finding your purpose is, in my opinion, creating a purpose. Create one. Create a purpose. You understand? Whatever that might be.